Sanders and Gabriel. Deshaun Watson's coming back. Who fits Todd Monken's system the best of the guys they have now?
Well, yeah, that's a really interesting question because all three of them could, but I'm going to go ahead and say Shedeur Sanders. And the thing about Shedeur Sanders to me that really sticks out, one, he's young. He fits his offense better because he's able to get out onto the move. We've seen what Deshaun Watson can do, right? When healthy, the last really great season he had was 2020. With Shedeur, though, you're building it from the ground up, meaning you have to go out there in the classroom and you have to learn the offense from day one. There's no questions asked whatsoever. And Todd Monken, as an offensive mind, he's really multiple in sets. He likes a lot of 3-4 wide receivers. He's really fast paced. He knows how to create mismatches. And the cupboard's not bare there whatsoever. You have Fannin, Judkins, and Jerry Jeudy, especially if they go and add a Boston guy in the first round as well. Shedeur's going to have a chance, or whoever's going to be playing is going to have a chance to show what they have. And with the new head coach and with a quarterback-friendly offense, coming over from Lamar Jackson, I just think that Shedeur Sanders at this point in time is probably giving them the best chance to win. And I actually love what Todd Monken said, about quarterback reps won't be divided equally in the offseason. And I think that's exactly what you should do because when you have your starter, he needs all the reps in this really wordy system.
I'm not rooting against Deshaun. There's no part of me that thinks it's going to work. And so we're at least stuck in an interesting spot. We'll be incredibly boring to everybody else across the NFL, but will be interesting to us.
I don't know. Again, if the Browns are a 7-win team with Shedeur this year, I think you're going to get people starting to pay attention to him because he's going to have to play reasonably well. And I do think there are more people ready to line up to be like, I told you this is what they thought they could be with Deshaun if Deshaun is even tangibly okay.
We'll have to wait and see because Nick, there's no world that exists where Deshaun Watson's good at quarterback to me. How many times can I say that? Are you telling me we got to see this play out? I'm saying everybody else has to see this play out because I don't need to see this play out. I think I know where this is going.
And I think about that was a 700-day layoff between his last snap in a regular season game for the Houston Texans and his first snap for the Cleveland Browns in the Browns uniform.
And by the way, if he starts week 1, it'll be, I think, 600.
I'm getting to a point. It'll be 693 days if he was to be the week 1 starter for the Cleveland Browns. So you mean to tell me that I am supposed to believe that the speed of the game will not be an issue for a man that will be coming off multiple layoffs of 690 plus days?
693 days. That's how long Deshaun Watson will have been away from a regular season snap if he starts week 1 in Cleveland. 693 days of rust, 693 days of doubt, 693 days that the entire city of Cleveland might not be able to afford to wait through. And now there's a 23-year-old rookie standing in the wings, quietly making that decision a whole lot easier. His name is Shedeur Sanders, and inside the Browns building, something is shifting. For months, the national conversation around the Cleveland Browns was simple. Deshaun Watson is the guy. He's the $230 million man. He's the franchise's bet on the future. Case closed. But something happened this spring that nobody saw coming. A rookie, a guy who slid all the way to the 5th round on draft night, a guy who became a punchline before he ever threw a single NFL pass, started quietly dismantling that narrative, throw by throw. And insiders close to the team are starting to say the unthinkable out loud. Deshaun Watson's nightmare scenario might already be unfolding in real time.
Well, I just think he's doing a better job. I think he's being more decisive. Now, it's easy to say we're not in pads. It just feels like he's making quicker decisions. The ball's coming out of his hands, which he's going to have to do. Not that he doesn't have playmaking ability, because he does. But his ability to process quicker and get the ball out of his hands and eliminate lost yardage plays is going to be huge for us to be able to stack plays and score, which is ultimately the number one thing to do
next year.
I think the way you summed it up at the end there was from my vantage point of the spring, the days we were there, what we saw, I think that's probably pretty fair. I think Deshaun probably had more of the big throws where it was like, hey, I'm taking a shot downfield, touchdown. I'm putting it in a spot where a guy catches it, turns upfield, makes a big play. Like he had probably had more of the plays that stood out in my mind as like, oh, wow, like look at that play. But I also think he was less consistent throughout the spring on the days that we were there. He had that one really good day at OTAs where it was like he was just balling. He was locked in, making a lot of good throws.
Let's go back to the beginning of this spring. Cleveland brought in 2 new arms, Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel, to push a quarterback room that desperately needed competition. Watson was still considered the unquestioned starter, the vet, the guy with the resume. At his peak, people forget, this man was a top 3 or 4 quarterback in football. Elite arm talent, elite football IQ. Nobody questioned it. But peaks don't last forever, and neither does time. As OTAs rolled on, then minicamp, then deeper into the spring program, something started happening on that practice field that even Watson's biggest defenders couldn't ignore. Shedeur Sanders started cooking. Not in flashes, not in highlight reel moments here and there, consistently, day after day, throw after throw. People who were there, coaches, insiders, reporters who watched every single practice, started using the same word to describe it: mojo. When Shedeur ran the offense, the entire unit changed. The tempo picked up. The ball moved. There was rhythm. There was confidence. People close to the team say you could literally feel it shift when he took the reps. And Deshaun Watson? He had his moments too, don't get it wrong. There were throws that made jaws drop, deep shots, touchdown strikes, the kind of wow plays that remind everyone why he was paid like a franchise quarterback. But here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. For every one of those wow throws, there was a play right after it that made people wince. 7 yards behind a receiver, a read that was just wrong. The kind of inconsistency that on its own you can live with from a guy still working his way back. But this isn't just working his way back.
So I am supposed to believe that, again, 2 stints of 690 plus days off, plus 3 more injuries accumulated, that the speed of the game won't be an issue. If the Cleveland Browns are trying to win right now, we don't need a rev up period. Remember back in the day when me and you were kids, late 90s, early 2000s, and the technology with cars wasn't what it was now? And you will see our parents go outside in the wintertime and they'll start that car up and they'll let it run for about 30 minutes while they getting dressed. And that was the rev up warm up period so that they could get in that car.
This is a man who has now suffered through 2 Achilles tears and a brutal shoulder injury. A man who, by his own admission, has gotten older. A man who, if he starts week 1, will be playing his first regular season snap in nearly 700 days for the 2nd time in his career. Think about that for a second. Twice Deshaun Watson has had to shake off nearly 2 years of rust and step directly into the fastest version of football on the planet. And the first time it happened, everyone watched it happen live against the Houston Texans in his Browns debut. It wasn't pretty, and the league has only gotten faster since. So now the question being whispered through league circles isn't, can Deshaun Watson still play? It's, is the speed of the modern NFL something he can ever fully catch up to again? And that question, that terrifying, career-defining question, is exactly why Shedeur Sanders' rise couldn't have come at a more dangerous time for Watson. Because here's what insiders are saying about Shedeur right now. He's correcting mistakes in real time. Coaches are seeing him take coaching points from one rep and apply them immediately on the next. That's not normal for a rookie. That's advanced. That's the kind of trait that turns a 5th-round pick into a starting quarterback faster than anyone expected. His accuracy has been described as dimes. His confidence is visibly growing every single week. And by the time spring wrapped up, multiple people inside that building were saying the same thing privately that they wouldn't say publicly. If the season started tomorrow, they'd start Shedeur Sanders. Now, let's be fair. Deshaun Watson does still have one thing going for him: football IQ. The man is famously a film junkie. Even last year, sitting out, he was reportedly in meetings pulling concepts from Lamar Jackson's offense in Baltimore and bringing them to coaches, saying, "I think this could work for me." That's veteran savvy. That's a guy who still loves the game at a cerebral level.
And that might be something that gives him a leg up. I also think Todd Monken talked a bunch of times this spring about being able to use the quarterback's athleticism. And that's not, Shedeur can do that. They were doing a lot of the same zone or read option type stuff with Shedeur, but Deshaun is considered, I know he had 2 Achilles injuries, and we're not going to really see it until they put the pads on.
Right.
But he's considered the better athlete of the 2. I think for those 2 reasons, he might go in with like a slight edge in Todd Monken's mind of like, I think Deshaun maybe has a leg up because we can use him more in the quarterback run game, and there's a little bit more we can do with him there, and his football IQ. But like you said, it's ultimately going to play out on the field.
And Todd Monken has talked openly about wanting to use his quarterback's legs, the zone reads, the run game element. On paper, a healthy, athletic Deshaun Watson gives Monken more tools. But on paper and on the field are 2 very different things. And right now, on the field, during the most important evaluation window of training camp, the gap between these 2 quarterbacks is closing fast, and some say it's already closed. So, here's where this leaves the Cleveland Browns, a win-now football team, a fan base running out of patience, a front office that has already spent an unthinkable amount of draft capital and cap space trying to make this Watson era work. And now, sitting right there in the quarterback room is a rookie who looks more consistent, more in rhythm, and more ready to win right now than the $230 million veteran he was drafted to back up. Todd Monken has called this competition tight, but make no mistake, tight competitions get decided in training camp. And if Shedeur Sanders walks into camp carrying this momentum from the spring, if he keeps making those corrections, keeps building that mojo, keeps throwing dimes while Deshaun Watson keeps showing flashes of inconsistency, this won't be a quarterback competition anymore. It'll be a changing of the guard. And for Deshaun Watson, a man who has already battled back from 2 of the most brutal injuries a quarterback can suffer, a man who just wants to make it through 2026 healthy, losing this job to a rookie in his first training camp might be the one thing he never saw coming. The car is running, the engine's warm, and Cleveland doesn't have time to wait for anyone to catch up anymore. The question now isn't whether Shedeur Sanders is ready, it's whether Deshaun Watson's window has already closed. Training camp is coming, and when the pads go on, the truth always comes out. If you're as fired up about this Browns quarterback battle as we are, hit that subscribe button right now, because this story is just getting started, and you do not want to miss what happens next.